The rule of 72 is, understanding how your money doubles and how fast it could double.
Welcome to the Adriana Ostapenko podcast. It's so exciting to be here. We put this podcast together to really talk about health, wealth, financial literacy, and really anything that can help you thrive in your day-to-day life. I have my guest with me here today, Dean Martin. Welcome, Dean.
Yeah, welcome. Nice to have me, or thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I met Dean, I feel like at least a year ago now, if not so. We actually met at a networking event on the yacht party, which was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And Dean is a financial advisor. We've stayed in touch throughout this time. He's had a chance to share a lot of what he does with me in the past, and I wanted to bring him on and just help us shine some light into everything that's going on in the financial markets right now, but just sort of get an understanding and a better education around this. So, Dean, welcome again. I'm going to pass it off to you, let you introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, Adriana, for having me. A little bit about myself. So well, I'm from Jamaica. I came here when I was 7 years old, so I'm pretty much a Canadian. I grew up here, and went to school, Humber College. I got a business admin diploma, and I was doing my actual CGA, Certified General Accountant, the course. Didn't finish it. I was young and I was having fun, so I couldn't be bothered.
Who
But
wants to do accounting?
I know, right? And then, but then I got a job with the federal government. I work for CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, the tax person that no one likes. But it was a great experience. I worked there for 27 years. I've been there. I've learned a lot in my time there regarding taxes. But for myself, it just seemed like something was missing in my life. It seemed like, the 9 to 5 was just, I don't know, it wasn't for me. And I just thought I'd look to see what else was out there. And I was introduced to an opportunity in the financial services industry, and took a closer look at it. And I thought, I don't know much about money. And I find that if individuals don't understand the rules to the game of money, it's going to be hard to win that game. And I find a lot of people don't know that. It's like playing a game, soccer, basketball. You can't play the game without understanding the rules. And I don't, and money is no different. If you don't know the rules, the system here in Canada, how taxes work, investments, all of those things that people need, how do you win the game? And that's why a lot of people right now are not winning the money game, because they don't know. And they depend on people who don't really look out for the best interest, like the banks. Banks are business trying to make money. So, so I'm really passionate about it. I decided to come on board, get my license. And I'm just awesome. I love it. I'm passionate about it because I saw how it helped me, the individual that sat with me, and how she shared some great information with me that I didn't know about. And honestly, it changed my whole life, like literally 180-degree changed my financial situation. And so now I'm just trying to pay it forward with other people to share what I learned and to make sure they understand, or given the information at least to know what there is available to them when it comes to finances and how things work. And I've been doing it now for 10 years. I resigned from my CRA job and I do this now full time. And I'm just excited about it, and I love it. I think it's just amazing to help people when it comes to their finances. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I'm married, 2 boys. So yes, that is what I can share with you about me right now.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. I can so relate. I usually say that making money is a skill set that you have to go acquire. Very similar to any sport. You use the analogy like you have to go and learn and practice. Money and finance is the same thing. For those that are not numbers inclined, it can be really challenging and scary too. There's just so much information. There's so many things that change too. over time. So keeping up with, how does it work? What are the rules when it comes, especially to taxations and things? There's just a lot to cover. So I appreciate that. I also remember meeting with a financial advisor. Now, like the first time I made an investment, I met with a financial advisor, and he was not that much older than me. And he sat in my house and we had some conversations. And my feeling at the end of the day was like, I just, I don't know that he knows enough, to be really guiding us here. And he
Mhm.
also didn't see it in his life. Like when somebody says they're financially literate, I want to see in their lives that they actually are. I want to see them living the financial, freedom and benefits that they're teaching me. And it wasn't the case for him as well. So I knew that I had to search somewhere else for financial literacy. So I appreciate your story. Um, Tell me a little bit. You said you've yourself have experienced the change in your financial life. What has been the biggest change that you've experienced in your financial life since you've become and understood the rules of the game better?
Well, I mean, for me, the biggest thing obviously was just understanding it in general. So knowledge, they say knowledge is power, but I don't believe that it's only the knowledge, to having the knowledge. It's applying the knowledge. Because if you don't apply the knowledge that you know, there's no power in that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a bunch of stuff that you know that you just have in your head, but you're not actually, applying it to your life. And so when I was able to apply certain things like, investments, rule of 72, that's a concept that we teach people. How the rule of 72 is, understanding how your money doubles and how fast it could double. And a lot of people don't, I didn't even know about that concept. So what it is, it's a concept that Albert Einstein actually popularized. And what it says is if you take 72 divided by the rate of return that you earn on your money, so that's the interest you earn,
Yeah.
that's going to tell you how long your money takes to double, how many years. And so the more or the higher returns you make is the faster your money doubles. So that was really like, wow, I didn't know any of that. And I thought, okay, I'm going to apply this to my life and look for investments that's going to give me decent returns. I mean, anything from 6% and up is decent. That can actually help you over time make a lot of money. Not only that, but what I loved, what helped me was also the budgeting. A lot of people don't budget, right? They don't write down or put on paper, things that they have to spend every month. They don't track it, and you have to track things. Numbers don't lie. That's one thing that's factual. It's numbers. And so once you put things down on paper, and you track your expenses, you track your income, you see where you're overspending. That actually really helps you in helping to understand how to keep more money in your pocket and not overspend. So that was part of that helped me as well. Living on a budget, it helped us, my wife and I, to really understand how to save more, invest more, and just to be able to even have investments, smart investments. Like I was able to buy an investment property in Niagara Falls that I now do an Airbnb with. You know what I mean? Those things I had no idea about. I had no clue about anything about real estate, but now I have a little bit of knowledge about those things. And so the whole financial, that whole literacy thing and getting into it helped me understand things more. Taxes as well, how to mitigate taxes, because a lot of people don't understand the tax system. We live in what's called a progressive tax system in Canada. The more money you make, the more the government takes, right? But here's the thing: if you understand how to mitigate your taxes legally, of course, get around it, reduce it, you will be able to do that. But most people don't even know much about that. What is an RSP? What is a tax-free savings account? What are the different tax buckets that are out there? Meaning, tax now, tax later, you know what I mean? Tax advantage. Those are a lot of things that people have no clue. And you got to know these things when it comes to your money and your investments. So those are a lot of things that I've learned. Can go on, but those are some of the things I'll share with you. But yeah, it's been a great ride to understand how things work.
I love it. I started my journey similarly. Our first sort of like financial literacy piece was learning how to budget and save. also pay down debt. So that was like the first thing that we kind of learned, and just started tracking, started paying off things, started like understanding exactly what we needed, how long it was going to take. This is like back a long time ago now. Eventually, and we got really good at that. We paid off our debts very fast. We just had some student loans that we needed to pay down when we first got married. Saved up for a car, saved up for a down payment. So it just got us started in that direction.
Mm.
Um, and I realized I have to switch my mindset now from saving to making money, because there is two different mindsets here and skill
Yes.
sets as well. And then started working on the other side. Okay, awesome to like budget and save, but
Mhm.
now how do I make money so that I can invest at higher rates of return and let the wealth grow? I love it. Can you share like a success story from one of your clients where you've seen the change in working with you and how that's changed their like financial life?
Well, you know what? I'll give you an example of, so I had a client, actually, she was with someone else before, but she kind of was searching for a different, advisor. And, somebody referred her to myself, and I was able to kind of sit with her, conversate with her. And, we had a discussion. She had life insurance and she had critical illness with someone. And so we had a conversation, just kind of reviewed it with her and see how things were going. But she was struggling. She was struggling with the payments, and she wanted to reduce her. I think she wanted to cancel the critical illness um, off of the policy that she had as a rider, right? And I met with her and I spoke to her and I said to her, I don't think that is a wise decision. I think we can look at ways to see how we can help you save more money or reduce, maybe, payments in other areas, because critical illness is very important to have, because we never know what happens to us in life. We just don't know. And I have a saying, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Right. And that's so important. And so, we had a discussion, and she was going to think about it. And then 3 months later, she calls me and she says, "Hey, by the way, I went to the doctor and the doctor told me I had cancer." And I was like, wow. So she was thanking me that I really convinced her not to cancel that critical illness. Because what happened was she was able to make a claim. We were able to make a claim for her, and the coverage was 50,000. And she was able to get that 50,000 deposited in her bank account from the insurance company. And she literally broke down on the phone with me and cried, because she said she was struggling. She had to borrow money from her sister because she couldn't work because of her situation. And that almost made me cry. But you know what I mean? Because had I not convinced her to do that, then where would she have been? And that to me was just so like, wow, what we do is so important. What we do to make sure people are protected and have the right things in place, is such an important thing. And that really, out of everything, it just made me feel so good that we were able to come through for her in her time of need. And that's one of the stories that I have, and I just thought it was really great for her.
Yeah, you can really directly see the impact that you generate in someone's lives. I love that. For yourself, what are the kind of policies, insurance policies specifically, do you have for you and your family?
So I have universal life. I had term to cover the mortgage part of because the thing is, people don't understand insurance. And insurance is like a gray area. When you mention it, it's like, oh,
Here
people
we go.
get like, oh. But what I find is, if you understand it and you understand the different types of insurance, then you're able to, once you see, what we do is just give you the information. Here's how universal life works. Here's how whole life works. Here's how term works. We let the client choose what is best for them, what's suitable for them based on the information we give them. We see, it's the information that allows you to make the wise the right decisions for yourself and your family. And so we just give you the information. I don't believe in telling someone what to buy. I believe in giving them the information and letting them make the right decision. So I have universal life. I had a whole life policy. I have a term, and I also have critical illness, because again, I can't be selling you something that I don't have. I think that's a little bit hypocritical, right? So what I share with people is things that I have, because I believe that, if I'm trying to help someone, to understand, okay, what they should have, then in terms I should have it as well. You know what I mean? So
I think that's why I asked, because I'm like, usually if you believe in the product so much, you acquire for yourself. So I was curious to what you keep on your
mhm,
as policies for yourself and your family, because I think that says a lot to what you think is important to have nowadays. I
absolutely.
think when you're younger, it's so hard to go there mentally because you just feel healthy. You think nothing's ever gonna happen to
Invincible.
you.
You're invincible.
It's so hard to think of
Yeah.
like disease and death. There's just a negative, feeling and connotations that come with it. I've myself, as you know, and this is how we met too,
Yeah.
been going through a journey to explore what are the assurances that we do need. Our financial situation also has changed
Mhm.
substantially over the last 5 years. So what we originally had is probably not sufficient anymore, especially where we're going and where we're planning to get to. So having to really take a look at those things now. And as most people know, the younger you start, the cheaper,
It
I say,
is.
the more affordable
Yes,
it
yes,
is to
absolutely.
get going on it. So
Absolutely.
there's certain value in having the conversations and, to your point, getting the information now to understand how insurance works and how it benefits you and your family long term. And then making those decisions of
Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
how to get started, when to get started with it.
Absolutely.
I love that. What are the biggest financial questions that people ask you?
For me, a lot of people, again, how much insurance should I have?
Hmm.
Like a lot of people, if they're getting life insurance, how do I determine how much I need or how much I should have, right? That's one of the big questions they have. People may ask me things like, okay, you know, they're afraid to invest in the market because, when you mention the market, a lot of people think, oh my God, I'm going to lose my money, right? Or I'm going to, but it's, so how do we invest without losing money? Those are things that people want to know. And it's not difficult. Again, it's understanding the information. It's understanding how to do it, because you don't just invest, just go in. There's certain things that when you're investing that you should understand. And one of the things that I tell people is, in investing, there's three things you need when you're investing. What is your objective? Why am I investing? Right? What am I trying to achieve? Now why am I investment? Then you have what's called time horizon. How long am I investing for? Maybe I'm saving or for a house. So, those things like that. And then the third thing is, what's my risk tolerance? How much risk can I take in the marketplace? And so those three things are when we show you and help you understand those, it's really not that difficult. And we have a concept. It's called dollar cost averaging. It helps you mitigate your losses in the market. And how that works simply is this. If someone, we know how the market is volatile, up and down. We have an up and down market. But here's the thing. Most people are not able to time the market. You can't. You can't time the market. Oh, I'm going to make 10%, or no, it's absolutely impossible. But what I share with people is, it's not trying to time the market. It's the time you spend in the market. Because if you look at an index chart, it shows you the up and downs of the market. The little, went down, went. But here's one thing I always tell people: when the market, even though the market goes down, it can't go nowhere back but up. You know what I mean? So it always comes back up. And if you track the market from the time of inception to now, its return is ridiculous. So it's really understanding how to stay in the market. You know, we also have to review your investments. You know, look at the funds that you're in. Maybe we have to change some of the funds based on the market volatility. You know, so these are things that we share with people. In terms of insurance, also, we teach you how to buy insurance. That's what we do. We don't try to just give you a policy. There's ways that we teach people. It's called the DIME, D-I-M-E, DIME method. And that just says, how much debt do I have? That's what the D stands for, right? The I stands for income. How much do I earn right now? And how much, if something happens to me, do I still want my family to have if I'm not around? And usually the average is 10 years. So if I make $100,000, then at least the 1 million over 10 years, I'm going to at least leave. All right. Plus the debt, plus the M stands for mortgage. You're going to also factor in the mortgage, make sure that if something happens to me, that's paid off. And then education. If I have children that need to go to college or university, we're going to factor in how much it will be based on the time when they're ready to go. So these are things that we teach people. We're not just telling you, hey, this is what you should buy. No. There's a method to the madness. You know what I mean? It's by sitting down with a client, having a conversation with them, understanding their needs, what they're trying to achieve, and everything is geared towards that person. You know, we do what's called a financial needs analysis, which is important. We take your income, your expenses, your debt, your investments, all of the stuff that you have, your assets, and we put it on paper. We'll look at it and we see where you're trying to reach, and we build a plan around you, the individual, based on what you're looking for. So not one size fits all, you know, so it's everybody's different.
I can only imagine. It's so customizable to you. Every journey is. You mentioned you also have investments in real estate. What are the things that you are personally invested in right now?
So I do have a Airbnb, as I mentioned. I do have my own principal residence as well. I'm actually looking to get into more real estate. I'm newbie in the real estate market, but I like real estate. Real estate is actually really good. I do have a home also in Jamaica. We built a house there 3 years ago. It was on my grandfather's property that we have it. So we built a 4-bedroom bungalow down there. Really, really good size. And just looking to actually maybe even open and do an Airbnb in Jamaica as well, right? Because Jamaica is actually booming. Real estate down there is booming right now. So I'm a newbie, but I'm trying to get my foot more into that as well. It's again, I believe in diversification. Got to diversify. You can't just have your eggs in one basket, because you know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's say I know real estate, you're in the market, so you invest in indexes and things.
Yes, and I do Bitcoin as well. That's not something that I share with, with this just
With
from me,
clients.
with the clients. That's way too volatile.
Yeah.
But if Bitcoin, I do it on some, with some platforms. Again, it's risk. It's high risk, very volatile. It's investment speculation, right? Because you're trying to get as much return as much as possible. But again, you can lose as well. So those are not the things that I share with clients. I give them more, seg funds, mutual funds, that type of thing. Because again, a lot of people don't understand the value of segregated funds. That's something that a lot of people never heard about. When I speak to them, they're like, "Oh, I don't even know what that is," right? But that's only offered through an insurance company, whereas mutual funds, it's offered through a financial institution. And the SEC fund has so many benefits to it that people don't know. It offers you guarantees, protection on your money. It's private. There's other things that it can help, right? So it's, again, giving the information to people that they can understand. And then I have RESPs for my son, for him to go to school. We have that. So again, it's just to try to make sure you have everything to help help the family, and also help other people understand how they are.
Let's talk about diversity for a second there, because you're talking
Mhm.
about like diversifying. Do you have a specific percentages or amounts that you suggest somebody diversifies their investment portfolio?
Well, here's the thing. When you earn your income, you've got to look at how much discretionary income you have left over. Now, I always tell people that Warren Buffett, everybody knows who Warren Buffett is, right? Now, Warren Buffett has a saying. He says that most people, what they do is they save after spending, but you should be spending after savings. And a lot of people don't realize that. You should be paying yourself first. When you earn your income, can't do nothing about the government share. They take their money, right? The taxes you have to pay. But after you get your net income, you should pay yourself, whether that means taking 10% of your income, putting it towards investments, some towards having the right, insurances in critical illness. If you're an entrepreneur, you should have disability insurance, because remember, most entrepreneurs don't pay into employment insurance, EI. So if something happens to you, you cannot claim on EI. So you should have your own disability policy. So if something happens to you, instead of you, being devastated financially because I can't go to work because I'm sick, can't go to work because I'm disabled, at least you now have that policy that kicks in to pay you a percentage of your income that you're earning, so that you can still pay your bills and still survive, right? Same with critical illness. If I can't work because I have cancer, heart attack, stroke, whatever, at least I know that it's there. I'm not going to be financially ruined if I have something. So I would just say 10%, 15% of your income, if you can allot that to paying yourself first through maybe investments and the things you need, that to me is good. That because at every stage of your life you need money. When you're young, if you get middle and the end, every stage, when you're old, when you die, you need money. So people don't understand that. And a lot of people's most of the money or taxes they pay is when they die, especially if they have a lot of their estate is large. That's another thing people don't understand, estate planning. So, but yeah, it's I would say about 10 to 15%.
I love it. Have you read the book Profit First?
No, but I'll read it. What is it called? Profit First? I like to read
Profit.
books.
So it is like it was really specific to like business owners and entrepreneurs. And the idea is make sure you pay yourself first. Uh, and I think it's the same principle that applies here to what you were saying. Like pay yourself means going and investing in yourself and investing in your future by, saving the money, investing the money, putting into insurance and protection for yourself. So I love that. It's a good concept to have. And unless you take that, and the whole principle of the book is unless you take that first, you just never have enough money at the end of the month because
You'll never find it.
it just
Always goes.
all goes. So like
Always,
make sure
exactly.
you pay yourself first before you pay anything
Yeah.
else. That's the only way that you truly know how
Mm,
financially healthy you are is
absolutely.
by following that process.
I believe so. Absolutely.
I love it. Let's talk about economic downturn.
Mhm.
So I've been sharing this with a lot of my colleagues and my audience. This is the first time I'm experiencing an economic downturn in the real estate market myself. I know 2008 was a big one, but to be honest, I wasn't an investor back then.
Mm.
And I've ultimately have experienced over the last, let's say, 6 years, a really great market, and it's done really well for us. So this has been an interesting, even though it's coming, it's cyclical, it's going to happen. You don't fully know if
Oh,
you haven't experienced it
yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think the pain of experiencing an downturn is what teaches you lessons. If you're just hearing about it from somebody else, but you haven't really experienced, it's a little harder to um, get ready for it. That being said, I'm just as we're going through it specifically in the real estate market is what I can speak to. I've observed where things have gone wrong for people, where things have, stayed pretty stable. And for my own portfolio and my own, business, where we've done well, where we could have done things differently to prepare for a downturn. So I wanted to ask you, for your clients and people that are going through this economic downturn. I know the stock market has been tanking the last couple of days or so. Do people call you, like, just as a side note, if people call you like, hey, something is going on, like, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. So we do get those calls where people are like, my investment, oh my God, I got my statement and I lost X amount. And I'm like, yes, it's part of investing. But again, remember, I tell them, remember, you're doing dollar cost averaging, which is you're putting in monthly. So if you're putting in X amount every month into your investment, it's not a bad thing. The downturn is not a bad thing. And I'll explain why. Because when the market goes down, okay, whatever investment you're in, it's based on units, especially with seg funds or mutual funds. It's based on units that you purchase. So when the market goes down, the unit price for your seg fund or they go down also. So people don't realize. So what happens now is you get to buy more units on sale in a market downturn. So that when the market goes back up, those extra units you purchased are going to make you more money. So that's why we share with people these concepts so they understand, listen, even though the market will go down, don't worry. Remember dollar cost averaging. It's going to help you because you're still doing it monthly. So you're buying more up on sale. So don't worry about that because the market will eventually go back up. So when it does go back up, you will make more money. I mean, it's part of the market. We know that. We try to prepare the clients to let them understand that markets are very volatile. Sometimes it goes up and down. So we don't worry. Remember you have a long-term goal. It's not for now. Now, if someone has a short-term goal, we don't put them in the market like that. We're going to give them in some low risk funds where they can make maybe 4% a year, right? Because remember, you're not trying to lose. It's for a reason, maybe a down payment on a house. So we're putting you in funds or the market where you're not taking a lot of risks. So there's it's different ways to do it. So it depends on the client and it depends on their objective. But yeah, they call and they ask, but I always remind them, remember the goal and remember also dollar cost averaging. I think if they understand that, they'll know, okay, I'm buying more on sale. So, but yeah, the market has been pretty volatile. It's been crazy, but it is part of the market, right? And the governments cause this things in the they'll say this, they'll say that, and that's what happens. Investors get nervous and they pull out and they sell, and that's what happens to the market, right? So, but yeah, we get those calls for sure.
I guess real estate has a different aspect of
Yes.
it, obviously, as you know, because we're not only putting the money there and just waiting. There is mortgage payments attached to this change in the market. So all of a sudden, if you're expecting or if you're paying, I'll give an example. I have a property in Hamilton. The mortgage went up pretty much half, pretty much double, sorry, of what it used to be. In 1 month's time, you're paying double of your mortgage payments, just because of how fast the interest rates have risen. If you're not in a position where you have cash flow in that property, where you have, reserves, now you could be negative. If you have multiple properties and that's happening, that's where, people's risk goes up significantly and they're having to sell or they're having to, um, not ideal. So that's ultimately what I noticed in the real estate market itself. People that are investing for longer term are doing better right now than the people that were doing shorter term strategies like flips,
Mhm.
BRRRRs, and that's just buying, renovating, refinancing, and they were expecting to get that refinance at a certain price, and it's just appraisals are not meeting those prices right now. So anything that was really short term or just getting really massively impacted right now, or anybody that was over leveraged and had, just really high leveraged mortgages, second positions, um, high rate private loans and things like that
Yeah,
are the ones that are
very
struggling the
vulnerable.
most right now.
Yeah. But and I guess if you're not if you're a variable, that's where you get
Or
hit.
variable,
That's
yes.
where you
We didn't
yeah.
feel it for a long time. All of our mortgages have been fixed.
Yeah.
They are fixed, but we are getting renewals at this point, and that's when we're starting to feel on my own personal portfolio.
Yeah.
I also the other big learning that I'm having right now is the bigger the better. At least this is very clear throughout my portfolio. Our buildings that have more units
Mhm.
are doing significantly better than the buildings that have. So this Hamilton property is a triplex, is the smallest besides our primary residence, the smallest building that we have. And that's the one that's doing the worst because there's just not much I can do in increasing the income. We also have, 50 units building, and simply by doing a yearly rent increase of $50 per unit, that brings us to a whole new level of income that I can't experience on my triplex. So that's the other and surprising, not surprising, but a lot of people don't know this, and commercial rates are quite lower right now than
Mhm.
residential rates.
Okay.
So that gives you another benefit. We just refinanced the building at 4.5 um, with really, really favorable terms when
Yeah.
most residential mortgages are at 6 to 7% right now.
Yeah. People are getting I had a one of my associates said, "Oh my God, my mortgage just went up to $6,000 a month." I was like, "What?" It's like, yeah. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but
Yeah, so tough times in that sense. And thinking again of risk mitigation here, at least for real estate investors, some of the things to consider and some of the lessons that I've learned myself. Think longer term. Like
yeah,
an investment is meant, you talked about that. It's about time in it. It's the same statement applies in real estate. Yes, you can do flips and things, but it just higher risk, potentially higher return in the shorter term, but also higher risk. If you think long enough term, the market is going to come back around. We know it will. This is not the time to sell if you can hold on to it. Hold on to your real estate. Don't sell it right now. Um, Stay in it because it's gonna come back around and you're gonna be happy that you have, experienced. We are also continue to purchase. It has to be really strong fundamental properties. But it is also a good time, to your point. If you buy now, we're buying at a lower rate. Yes,
yeah,
the interest rate is high, but once that interest rate comes back down, the amount of appreciation and valuation we're going to gain in this building is going to be significant,
yeah.
which is exciting. Be a bit more liquid now. So
Mm,
make sure that you have liquidity in your portfolio as much as you can. Don't over leverage.
yeah,
We bring in equity partners as opposed to private lenders, and that really helps us keep our risk on the lower side. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity out there right now on the real estate as well, but keeping in mind how you mitigate your risk, on the long term.
yeah, exactly. Definitely,
I
definitely.
love it. Let's talk about retirement planning for a minute here. We only have a couple of minutes to go. Like, what is your top strategies for retirement planning?
Well, number one is start now. You see, time can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. And the problem is with a lot of people is they start too late. When I tell the young people start putting away money now, if you make money, start putting away 100, $200 a month, you would be surprised how much you will grow, that money will grow over time. Because that's what you need is time. Because when you don't have a lot of time, it's harder to build retirement savings. So, I'm trying to help people understand that whatever you have, don't have it in the bank. Because remember, the banks are not giving you good returns on your money, right? So you want to be able to put your money somewhere where, again, the rule of 72, the dollar cost averaging, all of those things are taking effect, and your money is growing over time. Start early. That's really my main focus. I tell people, don't wait. Don't wait to save for retirement. I know people think, oh, I'm young. What am I thinking about retirement for? But that's the problem, is people think the mentality, the way they think is wrong. You got to start now, put away now, because when you put away, somebody that's 20 years old putting away $100, $200 a month, by the time they're like 65, they'll have easily over $1 million. It's already saved up, right? So that's, to me, is what's important. And unfortunately, why we see a lot of elderly people working in Walmart and fast food restaurants is because people didn't share with them what to do when they were younger. So now that they reach retirement age, they can't afford not to retire, because now they have to work. Because I always have a saying, people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. And it all comes down to planning. So we want to make sure people understand how to plan ahead and do it early, so that your money works for you over a longer period of time. And that, to me, makes sense, because a lot of people don't have a retirement plan with their workplace. They don't have a pension, defined benefit, or defined contribution plan. They don't have that. Some people do, some people don't. But even with that, you can't just depend on that. You got to also have something on your own. So with that, that's how we kind of talk to people, and seeing how much they can afford, as much as they can afford to put away for retirement.
Any specific types of investments or vehicles that you would suggest for retirement planning specifically?
So a lot of people use RRSPs. Obviously we know that how that works. It's beneficial, because it does allow you to tax later, to get taxed later, which is it's one of the ways to mitigate your taxes now. Tax-free savings account, again, is a good vehicle, because the money you earn in there is non-taxable as well. But again, you got to make sure that when you put it in those vehicles, you're making money on it. It's not just having it sitting in the bank in an account where it ain't growing.
Doing nothing.
Exactly. So that's why we help people understand where they can put their money in an RSP, in a TFSA, or even a non-registered account, right? It's just like a bank account, but it's in an investment company, and that just, you can put it in, grow it there. So there's different vehicles you could use, and put it in. It just comes down to, when I sit with someone, it's based on the person and what they're trying to achieve at that time. But yeah, those are three main vehicles, I would say. RSPs, there's tax-free savings account, and then there's the non-reg account that they can use to start to invest in.
Awesome. If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what message would you want to share with everybody?
Understand financial literacy. Don't rely just on someone, because that someone may not be looking out for your best interest. Learn it for yourself, right? Or at least have some idea of it. You may not be able to be great at it, but just learn what you need to know enough to help you and to understand it. So financial literacy, to me, is what I would tell the world. Learn it, understand it, because it will help you to know what you need and put in place for yourself and your family.
I love it. That's definitely speaks to my heart. Since I've started in my financial literacy journey, my life has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now committed, just like you are, to educating, sharing, inspiring others to get financial literacy and education, and inspired to teach as young as possible, getting my kids involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if I only knew, what I know now.
20 years ago, I say to people all the time, if I could go back 20 years, oh my gosh. my life would be so different. But
Exactly. So there is this like desire to share and teach and put the word out there. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. I know there's a lot of value here for the audience to listen to. How can people find you, Dean?
so they can email me at D Martin, so DMARTIN 01 HKKC at wfgmail.ca. That's my business email. I'm on Instagram as well. I think you have my Instagram, so you know my Instagram. And phone numbers 416-816-6514 if anybody wants to holler, we can have a conversation and I can kind of, see how I can help them. Right. So that's it.
Amazing. We'll definitely share all of your info on the podcast link as well as IG and Facebook. So people get in touch. If you have financial questions, if you have retirement planning questions, estate planning questions, insurance questions, feel free to reach out to Dean. And I'm sure he has spent quite a bit of his time educating me, and I know he will gladly do that for you as well. So thanks for coming and adding so much value, Dean. It
For
was a
having
pleasure. I'm sure I'll be seeing you very
Yeah,
soon.
absolutely, absolutely. Sure.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day. Take care.